Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of making a dodging game in iPhone SDK. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, then you have to watch it. Click the annotation at the bottom to take you to part 1. So what we did is we made the image draggable, and in this part we're going to make this thing move around. And then in part 3 we're going to make it do something when they hit each other. So let's continue. So in your viewcontroller.h, make sure you have the app property non-atomic retain, and our outlet is called 2 for the moving image. And make sure you have your CG point created. So now, after the touches stuff that we did, press enter after that curly bracket. We want to do dash space open bracket void VUID close brackets space on timer with a capital T and not capital O. Open brackets, press enter twice. 1 or 2, sorry, because our image is called 2. Dot center. Space equals space CG point make, and that one is 2 dot center dot x plus pose dot x. So center plus pose dot x, that's basically defining the positions of it. So we just want to highlight that, backspace, make sure there's no spaces. Basically we want to do the same thing over again. So we want to do 2 dot center dot y plus pose dot y again, and our brackets, and they're already entered one for us, so just add a semicolon there. Let me just verify that I did that correctly so we don't get any problems. And it looks like it's good. So now in our new line we want to make an if statement. This is basically the if statement for this step at the top. So if open brackets 2 dot center space, no space, dot x space our pointed bracket pointing right space your 2 straight lines on your keyboard, press shift backslash twice to enter those symbols, and before we enter those, we need to enter the size. So 320, that's the width of our iPhone, and enter those straight lines again just like that. And we want to again do our 2 dot center dot x space our pointed bracket pointing left space 0, and we're good with that line. Now this is what it's gonna do. So pose dot x space equals space dash pose dot x and enter a semicolon. And we can copy and paste these lines since they're pretty much identical, but there's one important thing we're going to need to change. We're going to need to change this to 480, this 320 to 480, otherwise your image would just be jiggling around, it wouldn't be going anywhere. So change that to 480. And change all the dot x's to y's. So it looks like we're good there. Now if we press enter twice, we can close our brackets. And now you want to go uncomment our void view to load at the bottom here. And after the super view to load, press enter. And we want to do pose space equals CG point make. And this is going to be our speed of our image. So 14.0. Select that, backspace that. And then 7.0. This is optional. If you want it to be a challenging game, you can raise that or lower it. But that's the default speed, or that's the preferred speed that I prefer, and it's the most recommended for a basic game. Enter a semicolon, and then we want to create an NS timer. So open square brackets, NS timer, schedule. So schedule. So scheduled timer with time interval and colon 0.05, because it's going to update every 0.5 seconds, so it's going to be pretty smooth. Target, we're going to keep that as self, and space selector, if I could spell that right, selector, colon at selector. Just keep that the same thing, and it should be pink if all goes well. Space, open brackets, on timer with a capital T, end your brackets, user info, colon nil. That's basically mean that user can't edit this. Space, repeat, colon yes, and all capital letters, because we obviously want to repeat. And square bracket, semicolon. So if we build and go with any luck, and we need an R right there in our NS timer. I just realized that now. Little mistakes always happen. So if we build and go in Cvil, our image should be moving around on our screen just like that. And stay tuned for part 3, and in part 3 it's going to be the last part, and in the last part we're going to be covering on how to make it do something when the two images collide with each other. I would have fit into this part, but I don't want to risk going off the 10-minute time span, so I'll see you guys in part 3. Thank you for watching. For now.